Hey folks, Jackdaw here, right in the flesh, and guess what? We have just reached over 30,000 subscribers on the channel. Just want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you. I can't even begin to share my gratitude for each of you getting me to where I am today. Whether you've just been subscribed for like a week or you've been here since day one, just want to say a huge, massive thank you for getting me to this point. We've been on this epic adventure together, following every twist and turn of the development of the next Dragon Age game, and that's been since 2015, all the way back then. And let me tell you, I am still just as excited as I ever have been to be here today doing exactly what I love, even despite the negative bouts of Dragon Age news and the tumultuous journey it's been at times. I'm so grateful to be here right now, and that is all thanks to you. So to celebrate reaching 30,000 subscribers, we are going to be putting together a fun little retrospective video. Straight up, we're going back into a time machine and revisiting my first ever video, which is a initial wish list on the next Dragon Age game, and I made that around 7 years ago, so we can witness 17-year-old Jack going through whatever he wants for Dragon Age 4. And to back that up, we're then going to follow that through with a new, more up-to-date, polished 2023 Dragon Age Dreadwolf wish list video, offering many opinions and discussions with a more mature and updated Jack going through that one. And last but not least, we're going to be delving into a Q&A section. I got a bunch of questions from you fine folks about 2 months ago, so we're finally going to be answering those. Alright, let's just kick this off and see what a younger Jack wanted for the next Dragon Age game back in 2015. Don't expect me to watch all of this because it is going to be pure cringe, but just in case that does happen, I do have the original script of this video, so we can still go through all of each of these wishes, just in case we don't go through the entirety of it. I'm not quite prepared. I haven't seen this video in so long, so yep, let's just crack into this. Here we go, the first ever video that I created, as you can see here, 7 years ago on the 26th of June 2016. Let's crack this open. I don't even know what to expect. I can't even remember making this video. I think I made it on an iPad or no, even worse, I made it on an Amazon Kindle using KinMaster, as you can see at the top of that awful watermark.
Welcome to Jackdaw Journalism. Today I shall be talking about Dragon Age 4, because why the heck not? And I know Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out next year, and we've probably got another 2 to 6 years to wait for Dragon Age 4, but who cares? So I want to be giving my wish list for Dragon Age 4. First of all, I just want to share that I will probably be spoiling all of Dragon Age Inquisition and its DLC, so if you haven't played them, you should probably hop along and play them. That has been my spoiler alert, and we should...
I'm just laughing at how innocent and sweet I sound, but also just the absolute cringe.
First of all, let's discuss what we should be expecting from Dragon Age 4.
What's this dude? Who's he? I remember I drew him for a comic, but he doesn't look anything like me. Why have I got him popping up over here?
So far, we've been told that Dragon Age 4, well, we can speculate that Dragon Age 4 will take place in Northern Thedas due to the Trespasser DLC, pointing towards Tevinter Imperium. That confirms that Dorian will definitely be in Dragon Age 4. We also know that Solas will be our antagonist as he ventures to try and destroy the Veil, which will crumble Thedas as we know it. Without further ado, let's get started on my wish list for Dragon Age 4.
Okay, first wish.
So first up, my first requirement, this is in no order whatsoever, this is random. My first wish for Dragon Age 4 is that we will be able to meet our Grey Warden.
Of course.
See, I had the privilege of my Grey Warden.
A wish that is definitely on everybody's mind still, that BioWare have confirmed countlessly that probably won't happen, but it's still a muchly expected and warranted fan wish, so I completely get that.
Being a human noble, therefore he became the king of Thedas, or the prince consort, and he married Honora. I would like to meet my Grey Warden again and his love interest. I actually romanced Liliana, and I also had the child of Morrigan. And I
okay, good wish, good wish. Right, let's skip ahead. What else have we got? What else have we got, younger Jack?
So in Inquisition, where was my little Barney, the little Mabari hound? I mean, he was in Origins as a companion. He was in 2 as a summon, and in Inquisition, he obviously just went back to the Cal, didn't he? Where was my Mabari?
Back to the where?
Come on,
Back to the where? What did I say? Went back to the where?
Inquisition, he obviously just went back to the kennel, didn't he?
Went back to the cow? Went back to the castle? What did I say?
Something. And in Inquisition, he obviously just went back to the kennel, didn't he?
I honestly didn't even know what I just said there.
Where was my Mabari? Come on, BioWare. Give us our Mabari back. That is so not fair.
No, I agree.
Also, along with pets, I want Schmooples 3.0. I want a pet nug that, like in Life is Strange, where if you don't feed your plant dies, and if you feed your plant, it becomes a good plant. I want that system to play in Dragon Age 4. I want my little pet nug to be waiting for me at my little home, and then I feed it, and then it goes bigger, and if I don't feed it, it starves to death. And then Lily...
I wanted an intricate nug simulation system that had life and death consequences. Brilliant.
Lilian, or whoever likes lugs in the Dragon Age new companions roster will have a go at me, and I will lose approval. Why can't I have a pet nug?
Right, what else have we got? So I've got the original script here. This was my old book that I used to actually write my scripts in hand because I did record on a Kindle. Okay, Dragon Age coverage, a wish list. So meet my Grey Warden. We've done that one. Hair physics, Mabari back, pet nugs, trending hairstyles, spiky, male and long, wavy, female. To learn more about the Titans, have an elven god companion, griffins, new vast places, favourable characters return like Sten, origin stories as a prologue, more convincing for each race. So that's something that I even talked about 7 years ago. Better class specializations, bring back the Bard, shape-shifting, Dragon Age to go back to Dark Fantasy, for the Inquisitor to be a vital part of the story, more companion interactions, less forced, more natural, more impactful choices like the original Dragon Age Inquisition demo, the PAX Prime one I'm talking about there, being able to save keeps, but causing a small village life or try to save both. Developed romances, don't really know what I mean by developed romances, it's a very broad statement. Less samey combat, better and bigger DLC packs, better or no multiplayer. We'll listen to my last wish, we'll see what we close on. What have we got?
And the last wish is for a new, unique and fresh narrative of the gameplay following. So obviously it's going to be a new Dragon Age, it's going to be fresh, I just want the gameplay to be better, combat to be new and fresh. We should just expect an all-round new Dragon Age game. This one's being made on the Frostbite as well as Inquisition, but it's not going to be held back because of previous generation games. So we should probably expect on par with Mass Effect Andromeda's graphics, which we haven't really had a look at yet, but that's coming in fall. Well, more news and gameplay will be coming out fall. So they'll probably follow the same sort of graphics, but I'm just expecting a better overall story with gameplay, hopefully seeing our Inquisitor, and hopefully having new and some old companions that we can just really, really enjoy. So yeah, that's my wish list for Dragon Age 4. I don't know how long it is. I apologise if this is a very long video, but I'll be happy if you sat through this long. You should pat yourself on the back.
Absolutely.
Leave me some feedback and comments of what you want for Dragon Age 4. Any feedback on this video or on myself will be much appreciated. Until then, I have been Jackdaw, and I should go.
Still got the iconic outro at the end there. Brilliant. Love to see it. Wasn't as cringy as I thought it would be. You can just see the significance in improvement there. But what do you expect when you start creating videos at the age of 17 and you're using, you know, an Amazon Kindle and free softwares, of course, you're going to make significant improvements and you only learn from your mistakes. Very much a great educational experience watching that. And some of the points I made, still relevant. I want that nug system that I had 7 years ago. I haven't even thought about that ever since, but I think that's a brilliant idea. Give me a nug based on an approval system, like with proper consequences. I love that. Now let's delve into a better, more upbeat, modern, more mature Dragon Age wishlist, hopefully capturing that same essence, that same spirit, that same energy that I had 7 years ago. But first of all, let me make one thing clear. This is just my personal opinion, and the awkward thing about Dragon Age is with Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Dragon Age Inquisition, each Dragon Age game caters towards a different demographic. They all have a different identity, from the classic roots of Dragon Age Origins to the high-octane energy of Dragon Age 2 to the more actively driven gameplay focus of Dragon Age Inquisition. Each Dragon Age game values many different things, from open worlds to hub-based worlds to more linear with freedom. Each of them are so different in their own ways, and because of that, my wishes are going to represent different aspects of different Dragon Age games that I love most. And so therefore, if you don't agree, that's absolutely fine. This is all about personal preference, as you've just seen in my first wishlist. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this. First of all, less bulk. What do I mean, less bulk? Well, Dragon Age Inquisition holds a very special place in my heart. It is my favourite Dragon Age game for many different reasons, and that is due to its fast-paced gameplay with its beautiful exploration, captivating narrative, and my favourite hero, the Inquisitor, one of my absolute favourite gaming protagonists. Equally, the diverse cast of companions and characters add to the allure of Inquisition. However, for Dreadwolf, I would like to see some changes. Specifically, I hope and demand for fewer fetch quests, smaller and more focused open worlds, and a more linear approach with a sense of freedom. A tightly condensed narrative would be a welcome improvement. The previous game's long-waiting war table missions and vast open hub-based worlds with pointless mounts didn't quite hit the mark for me. Both Andromeda and Anthem equally continued with this bulky, actively driven gameplay approach, which left me feeling disconnected from the gameplay style. I hope BioWare doesn't continue in this direction with future RPGs. They've done it in 3 games now and it really just hasn't worked how they'd like it to. Quality above all, not quantity, you know? Instead of cramming in over hundreds of hours of content, I would honestly prefer a tight, very, very tight 30-hour experience with top-notch storytelling, gameplay, and immersion. Next up, I'd like a meaningful RPG experience. I want meaningful choices like in Baldur's Gate 3 where every decision you make, every choice matters. Characters should react to my actions, and I want party dynamics to change based on my choices. For instance, I'd love the option for Solas to be able to destroy the Veil, depending on our choices, making every playthrough unique. Just like BG3 has wonderfully achieved, I genuinely want Dreadwolf to respect as many of my decisions as possible. And fair enough, allowing Solas to destroy the Veil and wreaking as much havoc on Phaedus is a pretty big thing to ask for, especially given that the narrative seemingly is about stopping him at all costs. Yeah, we can draw a line under that one, but even so, I want no 2 playthroughs to feel the same. I want to feel like I'm at least making a few different choices compared to each playthrough. I hope for deeper choices, even life or death ones like in Mass Effect 2's Suicide Mission. Consequences make BioWare games exciting, and that's what it's all about. That's why BG3 is so good. More reactivity and agency akin to Dragon Age's approval system. You know, more Iron Bull in Trespasser scenes, but that being throughout the game and not just in the ending DLC. Hate to harp on about it, but BG3 has already set a brand new standard for the RPG scene in 2023. And I'm not comparing it to Dragon Age Dreadwolf just yet. However, Baldur's Gate 3 and Dragon Age Dreadwolf are similar in terms of they are both further enriching the RPG genre, with many brilliant ideas and mechanics. BioWare would be wise to embrace many of them from BG3 and even just from current RPGs of this era. A quick one, but more improved character customization, more skin tones, facial options, makeup designs, body sliders, Kunari horn different colours, dwarf beard styles, unique tattoos, better hairstyles with physics as well, not asking for too much, but if my character has a ponytail, I want it to sway with the wind as she then charges into battle. It's all about them hair physics, especially when utilising the Frostbite engine with all of its beauty. Another one that I already touched upon in my previous wish list and doesn't really need to be delved in too much because I talk about it all the flipping time, and that's just this condensed open world approach. Trim down those sprawling hub areas from Inquisition and replace them with compact, bustling city hubs like Minrathous, Antiva City, Fortress Weishaupt, the Grand Necropolis, and the Arlathan Forest. Each of the core areas that seem like they're going to impact Dreadwolf largely, based on concept art and the current Winter Nights and short stories. Again, this ties into the less bulk approach that I talked about as my first wish, providing a tighter experience with less fetch quests and a more impactful condensed narrative that just feels actively driven. And therefore, instead of having fetch quests, you've got proper side quest content. Next up, a big one, a satisfying antagonist. Again, I adore Dragon Age Inquisition, but there is one aspect that I found most lacking, and that is the main antagonist, Corypheus. He just felt one-dimensional and his scheme seemed underdeveloped. And I get that the focus for Corypheus was for it to shift towards Solas, who is a compelling and ambiguous antagonist, but that shouldn't have to be at the detriment of poor old Corey. In past Dragon Age games we always have more than one villain, Loghain and the Archdemon, or the Blight for example, the Mage and the Templar War, with then Red Lyrium as this kind of side red herring. So I am hoping that Dreadwolf throws in a curveball and introduces a new equally compelling antagonist. It could be the Blight, it could be Mafal, it could be the Veneris, or something entirely different. It feels like it's all coming down to the Blight at the end of the day, or the Elven Gods, but there could also be something else entirely out there. With the introduction of the Titans in Inquisition's DLC, we could have many other curveballs thrown into the world of Thedas. The Trespasser DLC brilliantly connected Corypheus' events to Solas's grand scheme. I am excited to see what will become of Solas. He is one of my favourite characters in the Dragon Age universe. I'm also equally excited to see if Solas is really the true threat of Dreadwolf. Just because the game's called Dreadwolf doesn't mean we should all have our cards on him as a threat. Yes, he currently is the confirmed antagonist, but this is Dragon Age, and BioWare love to play with our hearts. I think something else could lurk behind the scenes, and I've always had my bets on Mafal being that, but we're going to have to wait and see what that's going to be. Either way, Solas is nothing but compelling, and if he is the true and tried antagonist of Dreadwolf, I would definitely find him to be satisfying. So hopefully that wish is answered enough. Next up, faction-based origin stories. Do I need to go further into this one? I've been talking about this one for ages. I even touched upon it back in 2016. But to give you a little bit more context, the Dragon Age Game Awards 2020 trailer confirmed that the next hero will be somebody new. No hidden prophecy and no magical anchor this time around, making them feel like somebody kind of ordinary, more akin to Hawk. This fresh approach has certainly piqued my interest, and I can't help but wonder if we're going to be somebody less significant, why not belong to one of Thedas' most relevant factions that ties into Dreadwolf's narrative. And that has just been even more amplified by the amount of concept art shown, by the gameplay leaks, and so I'm very much excited to see the fate of this one once we get our hands on Dreadwolf. Next up, diverse relationships. Now, bear with me for this one, but Baldur's Gate 3 really pushed the boat out on relationships and friendships and romantic systems within the fantasy RPG genre. And I just think that BioWare should really take the hint from what Larian Studios has done. I'd like an expanded range of romantic relationships available, allowing players to build friendships, romances, or rivalries with various characters. More alluring and passionate romances, moving away from heart-wrenching tales to saucy and captivating relationships that leave me breathless. More interactions with these characters. You know, with Baldur's Gate 3, you have so many interactions with them that end up in so many different ways. And fundamentally, I just dream of romancing a tall, enchanting Qunari lady and sharing intimate conversations and more adorable dates. And just to close all of these wishes down with something that has been on my heart for a while, I just really want Dreadwolf to bring so much closure between the Inquisitor and Solas. Their deep connection, whether they're friends, foes, or lovers, it has been shared throughout Inquisition's narrative together, and it's crucial to see their story reach some sort of resolution together. With the main plot focusing on Solas' scheme and with a new hero joining the picture, the Inquisitor should play a part in encountering Solas one more time, especially considering the decision that they made in the Trespasser DLC, setting the stage for their involvement in this narrative, allowing both Solas and the Inquisitor to reach their climax together, culminating this narrative and whatever that may entail, depending on the choices and consequences that BioWare allows, but equally what the journey they've shared together, what that kind of opens up to. Either that being the love lost with Solas, a relationship, his death, whatever could happen, whatever is apt for this narrative. We need some conclusion there, and I'm desperate for it. Fundamentally, you know, my main canon playthrough of Inquisition is my good Trevelyan Jack Trell or Jacket, and I love him so much. He's a dual-wielding rogue, but I think for Dreadwolf, I'm probably going to import my Soul Villain first to get that proper blind playthrough experience and see what it is like as having a Soul Villain Inquisitor. It feels like it could have so many other implications, having Romance Solas and going through that, so I'm really excited to see what that will entail compared to my canon. Okay, that'll do it for my most modern takes and wishes on Dreadwolf. Let me know yours down below, but let's delve into a few Q&As from each of you fine folks. So, Tulips in Thedas asks, what made you want to start creating videos? Also, congrats, you're easily one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Thank you so much, Tulips, really appreciate that. What made me want to start creating YouTube videos at the time? It was definitely the Dragon Age space and the Dragon Age community back in 2014, 2013. I was watching Lady Insanity, Biofan, GamerMD, Ability Drain, quite a few content creators at the time. And then also jumping on that Mass Effect one with Minius GC, Odyssey Gaming, loads of like the BioWare herd and the BioWare group at the time. I loved watching that content, and they really inspired me in their own way, but equally the community was so engaging and so fun at that time. I remember watching Inquisition's marketing, and BioWare went full on ham with it. They showed us so much about the game, but it was just an exciting time to be a BioWare fan. Yeah, and a lot of my creativity was sparked from equally the content, but also these amazing creators at the time. I wanted to kind of have my own voice, but also join that community, and it's actually amazing to say that I've had conversations and mutuals with a lot of the creators I've seen at the time. And Mr. Matty Plays is my favorite YouTube content creator. He's kind of inspired a lot of the content that I did back in the day, and he's a mutual on Twitter, and I talk to him from now and then, and you know, we're going to collab one of these days, which is going to be so exciting. But it's the passion, the creativity, and also just realizing that anybody can be a creator. You don't need to be this kind of journalist or this high-end, you know, YouTube content creator. You've seen my first ever video. I was just a 17-year-old excited to share my passions for Dragon Age and my excitement for BioWare's next IPs, and you know, that's all you need to be. You don't need to be this high-end expert. That's something that I've kind of tried to become, you know, donning the tinfoil hat and knowing as much, but there are so many times I make mistakes. I don't know things in Dragon Age lore, and that is okay. You know, there are other YouTubers, there are other creators doing that sort of thing. Fundamentally, it's just about being yourself, and that's what I've come to love about, you know, the content I do here. I can put on a tinfoil hat, bring all these connections and know a lot about the news and things going on behind the scenes and whatever, and also just having a fun, passionate opinion on the universe of Dragon Age, you know, like, it's amazing. So if you're in that same boat, all I can say is just be yourself, be authentic, but equally create what excites you, do what you want to do. There'll be an audience for that because clearly you like it for a reason, and so of course other people are going to as well. Next up we have Star or June's 2942 asking, have you ever read or wrote fanfiction for Dragon Age? Yes, I have, and you know what? In the spirit of this celebration, I'm going to show you a bit of it. Why not? I've been writing a fanfiction about my Dragon Age D&D character, Jelric Finch Bryland, for about 3 years, and it's just been such a slow thing, but you can see it's working. I've got a lot of words on here. I'm 7 chapters deep. That's how many words, 20,000, and it's going really well. I just struggle with writing it, as you do. It's based on a D&D campaign, so I have an idea of where I'm going with it, but I also want to put my own twist on it and kind of incorporate other stories and make it deeper and better. So I've got a template of where the narrative's going, but I'm scrapping parts of that and making it better and tearing parts of it apart and writing my own things. But yes, I have my own Dragon Age D&D fanfiction that is about Jelric Bryland as a bard as he becomes an Inquisition agent and stops this fabled cult of Rebus, who are basically trying to look for a vault that stems down to the first blight of all this arcane and secret knowledge. But it's not about the end goal, it's all about the journey, the cast of characters that join. It's a comedy in some regard, but it's also like a crime drama piece. It's mainly trying to be funny. I hope to get it out before Dreadwolf releases. We'll see. Erin W5597, first of all, just says a massive, really nice thing about just watching a lot of my videos since forever, and I really appreciate that, Erin. It means a lot to me that my videos actually do something. I'm not just, you know, screaming into the void talking about Dragon Age. That actually it means a lot to so many different people in so many different ways, so thank you so much for that comment. I really appreciate it. But Erin asks, what other interests do you have other than the gaming industry? Maybe film or another art form, maybe something you've studied or would like to study. My biggest hobby at the moment has been just seeing all of my favorite artists and bands live. I actually got Taylor Swift tickets, 2 of them, next year. I'm seeing her twice. I cannot wait. But yeah, I love gig photography, and I write for a music magazine as well in my spare time. And so a lot of this year, besides creating YouTube videos, I'm seeing my favorite bands and I'm writing about them and I'm getting mint pictures of them as well. I'd say a few artists I've seen this year that have been my favorite has been Boy Genius, Maya Hawke. I just saw The National last week at the Ali Pali, Holly Humberstone. I'm seeing the Japanese House this next week. Loads and loads of music. I'm honestly, there's a different side to me that is just obsessed with music, and I just love capturing those and interviewing them. I went to a festival 2 months ago for free as part of a press badge. So yeah, it's a massive hobby of mine that I kind of just keep separate from the YouTube, just so I have, you know, 2 separate things going on there. But I'd say overall I'm a massive creative and entertainment nerd. I'm watching Doctor Who again currently, but I'm also watching Loki. I just finished Ahsoka. Barbie has been my favorite film of the year. I also saw Oppenheimer, which was fantastic, but Barbie was just Chef's kiss. Above all, writing takes the cake. If I'm writing about films, music, or games, that's what I love doing as a whole, from writing fan fictions to writing YouTube investigative journalism videos to writing about the beautiful melodies of Carly Rae Jepsen or Taylor Swift. Quite a few interests going on outside of just the YouTubes. Mahira Mayhem asks, what Dragon Age game is your all-time favourite? Has to be Inquisition, and I know I love Origins, but for me it's Inquisition, and it's because of just the core memories I have of Inquisition in 2014. It came out at the perfect time where I needed a lot of escapism, let's just say that. It's what got me into content creation, but equally the YouTube content creators at the time, and for me it lived up to the hype of what I wanted from this Dragon Age game. Although I grieve about the open world aspects of it now and the fetch quests, when that game came out I loved those fetch quests. I loved pouring 200 hours into that game. It was what I needed at that exact time, and it has a core memory in that timeline for me as a kid, because I can't sink that time into a game now, being an adult, having a full-time job and managing so many things that come with the complexity of adulthood. But as a teenager, Inquisition filled the void of my life, and it was fantastic. And also I loved like quotes like her naive and beautiful heart silenced by treachery. You know, I'm walking through town, I'm getting my pumpkin spice latte, and I suddenly just think about that quote randomly about the Divine's death, and I'm like, you know what, yeah, why not? Her naive and beautiful heart was silenced by treachery. And there were just so many iconic moments in Inquisition. It really just defines a time in my life, and I love it for that. Decaster Dust asks a very interesting question. What do you hope will happen / feature in DA4 versus what do you think will actually happen / be featured? Are they one and the same, or do you think what you hope for isn't likely to happen? What I hope for will happen in Dreadwolf is I hope the Veil will be destroyed and we'll have some kind of end game narrative setting up either a DLC or a next Dragon Age game, or just the following chapters of Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Say the Veil comes down towards the start of the game or in the middle, and then you have the following narrative following how we're going to deal with that. I would like that to happen, but do I actually think it will happen? No. It just opens up so many worms. Like the Evanuris coming out, the Titans, everything else being awakened, the ramifications of the Veil being destroyed, the Fade coming back, pouring back into the world, Fade is being destroyed, what's going to happen with that? Although I do want it to happen because it's going to be one of the only ways to get all of those mysteries answered, like the Maker, the Evanuris, Mephal's death, all those things, the Titans, the Blight. The Veil was just opened up, the Evanuris would be free, and we would see the consequences of Solas's actions. But my hope is that it will happen so we can get those answers. But equally, I also don't know how Dragon Age can wrap up without it not happening. Like, if we want all those questions and answers, what is the other way to get to those without the Veil being destroyed? And I'm sure BioWare will have an answer, but still I want it to be destroyed so we can get all those answers. And also, I would like the villain to succeed at one point in the Dragon Age franchise. You know, the hero always comes out on top. Also, my solo villain would definitely be down for the Veil to be destroyed. Black Sheep asks, what choice in Dragon Age was the hardest to make? For me, it was my first playthrough on Inquisition. I was playing through it with my own world state, and I had Alistair as a Grey Warden because my Grey Warden became the Prince Consort, and therefore he was of Anora, and Alistair was kind of scorned after my Grey Warden 10 years later, still feeling a little bit betrayed, feeling a little bit, you know, down with it. Because I had Alistair as my Grey Warden, I had to choose between Alistair and Hawke. Who do I leave in the Fade? And I literally remember back in 2014, almost at the verge of tears, being like, what the hell do I do? And I unfortunately decided to let Alistair stay in the Fade. And that choice still wrecks me today. It's only been since then with like fans talking and talking in the community that people feel like the character who you keep in the Fade won't die based on a Mephal quote. So I'm hopeful that maybe that won't just be his fate. But at that moment in time, yeah, that was probably the hardest choice I've made in a Dragon Age game. Bardic Jen asks, what were a few of your favourite games growing up, video or otherwise? Ooh, brilliant question. A little bit of nostalgia. Mass Effect 2 filled a massive gap for me in 2011. Loved and played the entirety of that game. Skyrim, iconic. Fallout New Vegas, Until Dawn, brilliant horror game from Supermassive Games. Honestly, Animal Crossing, probably one of the biggest. Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts, I love that game, no disrespect, don't you dare even diss that game, it's so good. One of the first games I played on the Xbox 360, and I loved spending all day building vehicles and creating as many contraptions as you could. Life is Strange, I grew up with that more towards in university. Favourite character of all time, Liz Patterson, and I assume this is Dragon Age. Ooh, and that's hard between Solas and Alistair. So I've grown up with Alistair and I love like his quick remarks, his smirks and his lovable nature, that golden retriever energy. But Solas is on another level. You know, I understand him, I get him. Whereas Alistair's kind of ended his character arc and yes, kind of still has somewhere to go. Solas is still kind of just beginning his. I can't really definitively say Solas, but I will say Solas for now in 2023. Ask me that question after Dreadwolf. Julio, almost like Jackdaw, asks, what are you looking forward to most in the next Dragon Age? This is a good question to ask about many facets. Because it's so broad, I'm looking forward to it kind of just being released at this point, which I know is kind of like downplaying the question, but like, you know, with the negative news going on at the moment, and I'm trying to make this as upbeat and positive as possible because it really is an exciting time for my channel, but I am just looking forward to the game actually being released and not being delayed or cancelled further, or some awful news story happening about like more people leaving the team or more people being laid off. So I'm just looking forward to the game actually coming out at this point and it being a decent Dragon Age game. But I suppose to actually look into that and more features and stuff, I'm looking forward to the end of Solas's journey. I'm looking forward to where he's going to go. I'm looking forward to the new hero. I'm excited to play as somebody new. As much as I love the Inquisitor, I really do hope that we can be a faction, a part of that. That'd be really exciting. And I'm looking forward to the new adventure in Tevinter, in Northern Fadis, a region we've never been to in Dragon Age. We've seen it in Absolution. We've been to areas of Tevinter ruins in Dragon Age's multiplayer and across Inquisition. You know, we've got such an idea of Tevinter's culture and history and its society, but we've never actually seen it. And that is something that I'm so excited to finally experience, you know, firsthand. At this point, I'm excited by the idea of this game actually existing and actually seeing it and it getting a release date and it actually coming out and hopefully it genuinely being a good, brilliant Dragon Age game. Final question is from Blanius Maximus. What is your hottest take in Dragon Age? Oh, I don't really want to burn any bridges of this one. I'm not really somebody who has hot takes. I suppose if I've got one, or I should say ick. It's more of an ick. I get icked when people like announce their love for Solas post Trespasser versus the people who loved him when he was that raggedy hobo in Dragon Age Inquisition when like he had nothing to offer besides being wise and intelligent and a little bit enigmatic. People who love him in hobo style love him for who he is, love him for the intelligent smart elf versus, oh, I love him because he's an elven god. I don't like that. Love him for who he is, not because he is, you know, the Dread Wolf. And so that's my hot take. It's when people just like Solas because he's just an elven god. You know, love him at his worst, when he is being that pretentious douchebag in the corner talking about all the elven stuff that you don't understand, but you don't really care for, and he kind of just cares all about that. But, you know, you ask him some questions and he likes that. Love him at that point, not just when he's like got those glowing eyes and he can turn you to stone at any point and like he has that whole history about him, you know? So yeah, that's my one hot take. I don't think I have many others. This will do it for my 30k subscriber celebration. I just want to thank you all again so much for just following me throughout this entire journey since 2016, 2015. It's been a long, long ride and we're still waiting for Dreadwolf, and that's the most ironic, coincidental thing. That's the reason why I've kind of recreated this wish list that I wrote ages ago, because we still know next to nothing, if not the same stuff about Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Solas is the antagonist, we're going to Tevinter, and we're going to have a new hero. All things that were confirmed in Trespasser, and have since just been reiterated in marketing campaigns and the lot. As exciting and fun this video has been, it's also like just a glance at the state of BioWare and Dragon Age currently. That 7 years on, we still know next to nothing about Dreadwolf, which is terrifying in its own right. But equally, I'm here for the long haul, you know, I'm not a quitter, and I want to see Dreadwolf throughout its entirety, because I do believe this game will be great. You know, I do really hope for BioWare and the staff, the teams working there currently, as terrifying as it is with all ongoing layoff and severance situations going on that are just completely unethical, and equally part of the blame being on EA and parts of the blame being thrown on past BioWare leadership. I don't know about BioWare's current leadership. But thank you all again. Hopefully next time I do one of these subscriber milestone videos, we know more about Dreadwolf. Maybe we have it in our hands. I don't know. It depends if I grow really quickly in the next couple of months. But yes, hopefully we have more of an inkling on this game. By the time I reach like 40k, 50k subscribers, we'll see. But until the next one, of course, I've been Jackdaw, and you're already in the right place for all of your things on Dragon Age, Dreadwolf, and the state of BioWare, as well as what's upcoming for the next Mass Effect game. Until the next one, I've been Jackdaw in the flesh, and I should go. Whoa, 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 whoa.